Hey guys, so this is the Projectile Motion Lab. To start with, I'll just run through the equipment that you guys will be using and a bit of a familiarization. So to start with, we have the projectile launcher itself. There's the ball bearing, which is going to be your projectile that you'll be using. Over here we have a pump with a pressure gauge on it. There's your time of flight pad. There's the arrestor bed that, when you open up, it's all foamy in there, so that stops your projectile from running away from you, hopefully. We'll have a look at the LabQuest 2 and how we initialize this. So the on-off button is just up the top here. If it's already switched off, you'll need to just tap that to turn it on. And the first screen you'll come to is this one here. Right, so the first thing you'll need to do is actually to load up the settings for this lab. There should already be a file saved onto the LabQuest 2, so all you need to do is just tap on File, go to Open, and you're looking for projectilelab.qmbl. So you want to select that one and just tap on the Open button there. That should be it. That logs all your time, and also a pair of safety glasses for when you're actually launching the balls and whatnot, because you don't want to take your eyes out when you do this at speed. There's a heap of cables. Don't worry too much about those. They should already be plugged in, and that should all be done, and if not, definitely talk to your supervisor or lab demonstrator about that. So the next thing we're going to do now is just to calibrate our projectile launcher here. So before you start your experiment, the first thing you're going to do is actually calibrate your projectile launcher. On the back of your launcher you'll see two knobs here, which you'll need to loosen up. So this one here is actually to change the angle of your launch gun, and this top one is used to calibrate your protractor. So once I've loosened that up, you'll see that I can change my launch angle quite easily now, and also my protractor can change as well. So the idea behind this is you've got a spirit level down here, and you're going to move it until the spirit level says that your gun is horizontal. Once it's there, you're just going to tighten up the knob for your gun. So now that's steady, and I can still move this around. Over on the side, you'll notice that there is a bit of a line on your launcher. So that is your 0 line, and what you're going to do is line up both the 0 degrees with that line. So that's about there. Okay, now once that's done, just going to tighten up the top knob, which tightens this up, and now my protractor actually won't move. Okay, so now I know it's calibrated to 0 degrees. Now the catch is, if I move this somewhere else, I'm just going to have to recheck that my spirit level is still centered, which fortunately for me it is, but just check that. If it isn't, you're going to have to run through the recalibration process again. Okay, so now this projectile launcher is actually calibrated. What we're going to do is make sure that when we fire this off, it's going to land in the right spot. So the way we do that initially is to just loosen up that launcher and put it to a 45-degree angle. So the reason we're picking 45 degrees is because that's going to be the largest range that it can possibly achieve at 45 degrees, and everything under or above that is going to be actually shorter than that. So my goal here is to get this projectile to launch exactly or fairly close to the full distance of the bench. So I've got my arrestor bed over there. I've pulled my time of flight pad out of the way because I don't want it hitting the corners of the time of flight pad and damaging it, and I'm going to make sure that this launcher or this projectile is going to launch and land just in front of the arrestor bed where the time of flight pad should be, and then we're ready to go. So projectile into the launcher. And one thing you need to do is just make sure that that projectile, when it drops into the launcher, just slowly eases into the back corner. If it doesn't, you may need to encourage it with your finger. You need to do that every single time, especially in the lower angles, because the gravity isn't really working for it at that stage, and you need to just push it down gently into that corner. So with your lab partner, what you're going to do is, first thing you're going to do is just pump this up and you're trying to achieve 40 psi on the gauge here or thereabouts. Okay, so if it's a bit too low, like this one is, it's currently at about 35, I'm just going to up the range a little bit by winding it clockwise and then pumping it a little bit more. Okay, what I'm listening for is the hiss. When I'm hearing a hiss, that means that the pressure is at the set pressure. And now that I've pumped this up a little bit, it's actually gone above 40, so I can just drop this down a little bit. And there we go, we're at 40 psi now. So with your handy lab partner, who's going to catch the ball just in case it doesn't land where it's supposed to. So I'm going to launch this by holding down the arm button here and then tapping the launch button. So we're just slightly off there. So what we're going to do is move this pad hopefully in line to where it was. I think it was roughly there. Again, checking that the ball slowly falls down. I'm just going to pump this up again. Yep, started hissing, so we know that we're at the pressure. And perfect, okay? So what you notice is that the ball landed about here, which is going to be perfect for when I put my time of flight pad in the way, and so that I can now get some data. We'll just have a look at the LabQuest 2 here and how you need to set that up. Basically, you're going to tap on this XY looking button here, that's a table. That just gets you to the table window. Just really quickly check that you have 5 lines on there of data. If you don't, then you need to go back and load the file that we talked about earlier on. Now, all you have to do, tap the play button, and that's pretty much it. You're ready to launch. Now that I've hit play on the LabQuest, I'm ready to take a measurement. Again, just like before, I'm going to pump this up. Yep, it's hissing now. Hold on to the arm button and hit the launch. We've just done the launch. We'll have a look at the data and what it looks like. The third line here, where you've got 3.309 meters per second, that's the speed of your projectile that is leaving the launcher. And this bottom left corner here, where you've got that 0.53169 time, that is the time it took for your projectile to actually leave the launch and land on the pad. Yes, I'm like, what am I doing? And we're live.